Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about public schools. They're a government-funded entity that provides affordable, accessible, and free education to everybody in the United States. But what if I were to tell you that that wasn't the case? And that prior to the 1970s, millions of people were being forced to pay tuition to attend public school. And that if it wasn't for this split Supreme Court decision, they would still be paying to this day. The Supreme Court case itself is called Plyler v. Doe, and its ramifications are still being felt to this day. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Education, roughly 6% of the U.S. school population is undocumented. That's about 4.7 million people. And those 4.7 million people are entitled to a free education because of this case. Now, I myself, being a child of Mexican immigrants, am strongly close to this case. I've also been studying this case for the better part of 5 years. So today, I'll be discussing Plyler v. Doe, what the decision was, and its ramifications, and how it's affecting us today. Now let's get to the background. In the 1950s, Texas started experiencing an influx of immigrants into the state, and many of them from Mexico. As a result, millions of these undocumented children were being fueled into the Texas school system. Now, according to James Powell from Southern Methodist University, many of these school districts began enacting policies and amendments that were targeting these undocumented families, charging them about $1,000 in tuition to attend. That's about $10,000 in today's money. Also, in 1975, the Texas legislature adopted Section 21.031 in the Texas Education Code, basically stating that undocumented children were not entitled to a free education and had to pay to attend public schools. Now, because of this, 4 Mexican families sued the state of Texas and these school districts, fighting for this section not to be enacted. One of them was an unnamed Mexican man going by Doe, and the Tyler Independent School District Superintendent, James Plyler. Now, the plaintiffs of this case wanted Section 21.031 to be struck down and viewed as unconstitutional, stating that it went against the Supremacy Clause and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Texas ruled that this section was perfectly fine, and that they acted this because they were negatively impacted by the undocumented children being in their classes. Now, the Tyler District Court and the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals both ruled in favor of Doe, resulting in Texas appealing the decisions of the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in favor of Doe, upheld the lower court's decision. Now, as according to James Plyler from the Southern Methodist University, the court ruled that undocumented children had every right to have a free public education. The majority was led by Justices William Brennan and Lewis Powell, who both viewed education as a natural right and found no evidence that Texas was being negatively impacted by these undocumented children. Now, the other 4 justices were led by Chief Justice William Berger. They sided with Texas, viewing that the Constitution had given them any power to rule in this case, saying that it was a legislative matter and could only be resolved through an act of Congress. They also cited multiple cases of their precedents, citing that illegal aliens were not entitled to governmental benefits, including education. Now, let's get to why it's so important. The Plyler v. Doe decision strengthened the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. As a result, many of these states began enacting policies that were revised in support of the Supreme Court decision. However, according to Lauren Guzman from UT El Paso, from 1982 to 2012, many of these states began enacting policies that were going against the decision, resulting in the court striking down many of these decisions. Now, in 2012, DACA was created, the Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals, directly from Doe. This protected undocumented children from being deported or detained in the government. A provision in DACA also was influenced by Plyler v. Doe, allowing undocumented kids to attend community colleges, opening the door for undocumented children in higher education. In conclusion, I hope you were able to be informed by Plyler v. Doe and you understand the significance of this case. As the Supreme Court said, education is a natural right, and it's entitled to everybody regardless of race, sex, or nationality. I leave with you with a quote from the first Latina Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor. It is important for all of us to appreciate where we come from and the history has really shaped us in ways we may not understand. Thank you.